everybody later on in the meeting when he actually moved the motion to say no, seconded by Chambers, despite interrupting him during questioning a short time beforehand. And I think that some councillors might have surprised people, as well as members of the public last night. But again, you're welcome to make up your own mind. We'll do some open lines now at 250-386-1161. I think I see, is this Hollis Hodson calling in on line 1 about the Saanich meeting?
It is.
It is.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, how you doing? Welcome to Open Lines.
I'm doing very well. Yeah, thanks very much. I was not, full disclosure, at the meeting last night, but I'm aware of the application and the issues around it, and I've been listening in.
Yeah.
And I just felt the need to say there's a couple things going on. My overarching perspective is we need to advocate for things with complementary responsibilities as the framework, rather than going at everything as completely separate, divisive issues. I'm really pleased with the outcome last night. I think it's fantastic. It's going to go to the next council to have a look at it.
Yeah.
But I think, some of the questions that were asked are really important. Like, is it attainable, affordable housing that was being built there? Because if it wasn't, and families can't afford it, and we're looking at another Mackenzie Shelburne, then that's not a good thing for everyone. And neighborhood character and the local area plans have always been very important. And, when each of us buys a property in an area, we make an agreement with the municipality and the government to say, we're going to abide by some rules, we're going to pay some taxes, and in exchange, we want the ability to comment on what can happen in our neighborhood and engage in meaningful debate.
Yes.
And that is absolutely not happening. And I think the frustration with everyone, when I'm door knocking, this is what I hear a lot, is that people are not feeling like they have a voice, they're not being consulted, they're not being included, and that's just not okay on any level. So I just felt obligated to say, I understand there's a process that's followed. I understand there's an order in how you go about things. But if current council isn't providing guardrails to what they want staff to do, in other words, that middle practical, tactical management piece, and we're just looking at things as an end game strategically or in the past operationally, it's difficult for staff to then execute because they don't know what the desire is. And last night's a perfect example of that. Is they're shooting for what an outcome might be, but the guidance is happening after the fact. So something that might have had meaningful public engagement up front, followed the process appropriately, and done more engagement, results in something that's now got to go through the process again. And whether we like it or not, that's inefficient, and ultimately, at the end of the day, using more tax dollars to accomplish that.
Now,
so I just...
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I said,
No, you did not cut me off. Okay. I just thought I was about to say, that's I just feel that's worth mentioning here.
All right, well, thank you. Now, here's the question I'm curious about, and I'd love your take on this. Absent the sort of pushback we saw from members of the community, do you think that the same outcome would have happened, or is this evidence that the people pushing back are having an impact?
Well, as someone who is a candidate in the upcoming election, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there's an upcoming election.
Yep.
And it would be very interesting if we, could go back in the past magically and say what would have happened if we didn't have an election.
Yeah.
That's an excellent question, right? Not one I can actually answer. I'd like to think that would be the outcome, but I'm not clear because I can't speak to them. There's other things that I'm advocating for in the community with a different hat on. And, again, it's unclear whether the concerns are being heard. It's unclear how these impacts downstream will happen. Can I sidebar for a second?
Sure.
So my sidebar is, I have gone through and researched to the best of my ability to understand Bill 44 and all its mechanisms. And
one of the questions it's so complicated.
It's so hard to follow. But I think I found something that says if these developments, let's just call them under that. If developments are occurring in a neighborhood where you have environmentally valuable assets such as wetlands, Garry Oak Meadows, these types of things, that there's actually an exclusion. And my question becomes, are staff aware? Do they understand that? Have they gone through it in detail? And are they using that lens when some of these applications move forward? And the only ones we see are the ones that have variances. So not only are we saying, well, there's a blanket pre-zoning that's happening that you can build, but savvy corporate developers are taking advantage of that by potentially putting in variances, and so are community-based. But let's face it, when you start adding huge variances into it, again, we're like, what is the actual outcome and what is the box we're going from Bill 44? And I completely disagree with the province, overreaching and saying like the entire province should be zoned, the way it pre-zoned. That it just doesn't seem logical, right? Like it can't be one stroke. How often do they apply something that is actually resulting in an outcome that everybody's celebrating? Not often, right? So, I just wanted to raise those.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for that. Hollis Hodson is a candidate in the upcoming Saanich election, had been following the issue that was ultimately rejected for the moment by a 5-4 vote last night by Saanich Council. Thanks for calling into the program, offering your perspective.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Adam.
All right, there you go. You have a good day. You take care.